Welcome back to White Claw
Love
Wednesday.
that for us.
Yay!
So what's everyone drinking tonight? I'm drinking black cherry.
I'm drinking
I'm
lime
sticking with
today.
raspberry.
All right, so today we're going to be talking about our group of three and how a lot of people say that groups of three never really work out. Someone always feels left out, or there's just drama between a group of three. But me and Christy and Katie always talk about how we defy the odds with our trio, and we just have none of that. And I think we all really complement each other.
I definitely agree.
Yeah, like it's like a good balance. And we're all so different, but it just works.
We're all so different, but we're all so alike at the same time. And I definitely think that since we are, it's weird because it's so hard to say you're so different, but you're so alike. But I feel like if we were all the same, then we would clash. And since we are all so different and all of our personalities are so different, but yet we are similar in different ways, if that makes sense, that it works.
And it also helps that we all have the same sense of humor.
Definitely.
Definitely. I feel like not very many people have that. The same as ours.
We have a unique sense of humor.
Very, very unique. I definitely agree with Megan on when she says we defy the odds, because we really are so different but so similar that we do have such a great balance. We've all known each other for over 2 years now, and it wasn't until, about 8, 9, 10 months ago that the trio really, really formed. And we were all friends before that, but just us three. And we've never been in an argument. There's never times where we really just get upset with each other, or we're just always on the same wave, I feel like, too, when we understand each other, where we know, like, a little bit of space is good here and there. We just know each other's personalities, don't poke the bear in the morning with Megan, or don't let Chrissy drink tequila, or right now Katie, is on her period, so she's a bitch.
Yeah, I agree. I think we all know like what sets each other off, but we also know, like, we also trust all three of us that like there's never going to be tension or drama. So like, for instance, like,
Never.
I'm really mean in the mornings. I like to sleep in. So if Katie and Christy go get brunch and they don't tell me because they know that I'm going to sleep through it, I'm not offended. Like, I don't wake up and think like, oh my God, they were hanging out without me. Like, it's just, there's none of that because we just don't care.
Yeah, there's never we never have to question each other. We just know each other. I don't even want to say the word motives, but we know each other's moves. So we know that it's never out of, spite, or, we just forgot about somebody, we just know that Megan's gonna sleep in. And Katie and I do brunch every single Sunday. We're avid brunch ladies, and we would love if Megan was there, but we know that typically one Sunday out of the month we'll get lucky with Megan. And so we'll like plan it way in advance and be like, set your alarm, and we'll call her a bunch of times in the morning. But she's right, she never gets upset over it because she just knows that it's not out of a bad place. It's out of, we just want our girl to sleep, you know, and we'll hang out with her later. You know what I mean? Or I just think that it just makes it easier when you don't take everything so offensive.
Yeah, so personally. And when also we always just let each other know what's up. Like, hey, we're going here. You're welcome to come. But it's not, there's no obligation, and it's not weird if you're not there. You're not, how you just have friend groups where you all of a sudden get this wave of anxiety when a bunch of your friends are hanging out without you, because you're like, oh my God, like, what if something fun's happening, either FOMO. Or like you have like a slight suspicion of, with toxic friends that like, oh my God, what if they're talking about me? Like, that just never happens.
Never.
Yeah, and I think what makes it special is that we all have our individual relationships with each other. But when the three of us are together, it's just like the trifecta. Like, and also like we are always talking through the group text. So like if someone's sleeping through it or someone's working or busy or whatever, like you're not feeling left out because like you know about the plan. Like everyone's always invited to everything, but like everyone has their own lives too.
Definitely. Like it's never, when Katie and I go to brunch, we always text in the group, hey, we decided we're going to brunch, which I mean, we always know we're going to go to brunch, but we'll text, hey, brunch at like 10 or brunch at 11 or whatever. Megan, if you're awake, come. And like, you know, when Megan wakes up, she'll see it, you know, so it's not just like Katie and I decided to just go without her. But the thing is even if Katie and I did decide to go without her because we know she's sleeping, she would never be upset with us because she just knows, you know. And, you know, like you said earlier, Meg, it's also a thing where like we would never ever talk behind each other's backs ever. Like I could never imagine saying anything bad about Katie or Megan or even behind their back. I mean, I also just feel like we all just love each other so much, and we really just do, you know. And since we are so open with communication and honesty, loyalty, all that stuff, that there is no questionable morals from anybody else. Because I know that if there was a situation where I wasn't there, you know, they would never be talking bad about me. They'd probably be talking about how much they love me and vice versa.
Exactly.
Yeah, like, oh, we wish so-and-so was here or whatever.
Yeah, it's always, I wish this one was here right now. You know, it's never anything bad. And that's also just with friend groups in general, is people are so extremely fake and will talk behind their friends' backs, or, you know, people want everybody to like them so bad. So, you know, they're a people pleaser, which it's okay to be a people pleaser.
To an extent.
But to an extent, I think that, you know, people get, you know, caught up. And if it's like somebody's talking about their friend, they don't know how to stop and be like, hey, you know, that's my friend. Please don't talk about them in front of me like that. And, you know, people get really offended. And I was saying this to Megan the other day, is I think that we need to, as like people in general, should normalize, letting people know that like they're not okay with something, or, you know, that's upset me, or like something like that, without people taking it offensively. And sadly these days, if you tell somebody how you're feeling, or you say, you know, that upset me or something, immediately you're a bitch, or you're crazy, or
you're overreacting.
You know, that person's overreacting, or they're mad at you. And I think that's where communication has a big disconnect, is that, you know, us three, and just with all my friendships in general, the people that are in my life, you know, which you've got to go through a lot of snakes, sadly, to find the people that like truly are, you know, genuine, real people. And I've luckily found those people, kept them really close to me, but there's not a single girl that's in my life that I would feel nervous coming to with the way that I'm feeling about something. And I know that we would have proper, honest adult communication. And I think that's really, really important.
Yeah, definitely. Like, I feel like as you get older, it becomes like you realize friendships are more like you have to focus on quality over
Definitely.
quantity.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And that, I mean, that just goes for, I think, big groups, small groups, whatever it is, it's, you got to like weave out all the people that you kind of just hang out with, but you're not really friends with, or like they kind of piss you off, but you, for some reason, you deal with it. You brush it off. You make up excuses for them. And then one day you wake up and you're just like, no, it's a privilege. You have to think of it as like, it's a privilege for you to be in my life. And like, if I'm going to accept you as my friend and like really like take you in on my life, like that's a lot of energy, that's a lot of time, and that's a lot of like emotional friendship and whatever feelings. And I think you really have to like start once you get older, you start to realize the people you want in your life, and the people who matter to you, and the people who will do anything for you and are genuine, versus the people who are just there, or the friends of a friends that you hang out with at bars, or, you know, it's different.
Yeah, like life is too short to be spending time with like people you just tolerate or make excuses for. It should be spent with people who, you know, make you feel good, lift you up, make you laugh, everything like that.
So. Are there for you through the ugly and the bad. They don't just run out when it's bad, or they don't just, you know, disappear when it's bad.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that you're like, Megan, you're totally right. Like the privilege thing. I texted that to somebody the other day. It might have been you guys, but it's true though. It's like it people have it really twisted and they think that you owe them something, or that like it's you owe it to them to be in your life. And it's like, no, it's absolutely a privilege, and you can choose who you want and who you do not want in your life. And I think that's also a big thing that people tend to forget. They think if you cut somebody off, or you just wake up one morning and you decide, you know what, I don't really want to be friends with this person anymore, they don't bring anything into my life, suddenly you're crazy, or you're a piece of shit, or there's something wrong with you. And it's like, no, if you wake up and you decide, this person's not bringing me happiness, this person is, kind of just, they exist in my life, that's okay for you to not want, to continue a friendship with them. And a big thing I noticed too is like, people think just because you're not friends with them anymore that it should be beef. Yeah. And it does not need to be beef. And I think that comes with age and growing up. Just because I don't want to spend as much time with you anymore, doesn't mean that I dislike you, or doesn't mean that I have a problem with you, and I think that the world would be so much easier, especially with girls, if we just all were like, you know what, that's okay, and we were all more understanding of each other and could accept that sometimes you just aren't going to be friends with that person, and that's okay. And it's easier to just wipe the slate clean than to like harbor beef,
Yeah, like people grow up and grow apart, and like some people have served their purpose in your life and you've done the same, and it's no bad blood, but just
you move on. And I think the best way to know if you're waking up happy and not thinking like, oh, I have to entertain all these people, or you feel obligated to hang out with these people, I think the best thing, the way I know, is that I wake up every morning to like our group chat, the three of us, and it's always some funny shit because I'm normally the last one to get up. And so it's always like that. Then we talk all day long in between working and, doing whatever that everyone's doing. And then I'm pretty sure most of the time, the last text before we go to bed is our group chat too. Like we're still talking.
Always.
I wake up early and get all the messages from like 2 and 3 in the morning.
For me and Megan, because we're night owls.
It's always just the weirdest, like middle of the night shit. And it just starts my day off on a good note, though. Or you get a good laugh crying.
Or our crazy group snaps, that are being sent. And, Katie has to wake up in the morning and to like me doing crazy things at 3 a.m. or Megan doing something just like whack at 3 a.m. And it's like, it starts the day off. But Megan, you're totally right. I wake up to our chat every morning, and that's how is I wake up happy to it. I'm not like, God, these bitches, I can't stand them. Like, I want to talk to you guys. I love talking to you guys. And sometimes like I'll catch myself, like I said in our first podcast, like I catch myself being like, gosh, I'm so lucky to have these girls. How did I get so lucky though? Like, and like I said, I've had to go through a lot of snakes to find the girls that are in my life, but each girl that I have in my life is nothing but, positive, uplifting, loving, supportive. There's no hate on anybody's end. And I just think that, as you grow up, Katie, like you said, you're going to be on different paths. And, I've unfortunately, I think we all have, we've gone in a different direction, than some other people in our lives. And that's okay. But I feel like if people aren't growing with you, not necessarily they have to be on the same path as you, but you're either going to grow together or you're going to grow apart. And that's okay if you want to choose a different path, but you typically tend to stay and steer more in the path that you're going, on the same path.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Like some people are not meant to be in your life forever, and some just are. Like we're really fortunate to have like just great loving friends. And speaking of which, that brings us into our guest for this week. We talked about her a little bit in the first episode, so give it up for Lexi.
Yay, Lex.
Hi. It's me,
Lex.
Lexi ASMR.
Yep. At Lexi is small. Lexi small.
Hello, thanks for having me on your podcast, ladies.
Thanks for coming, cutie.
I love you guys. Miss you guys.
We love you
Love
and miss
you too.
Lex is our friend that we talked about, like Katie said, last podcast, and she's kind of the one that brought us all together, and so we thought it'd be
Dude,
perfect.
that's so true. I'm like literally the glue.
Yeah, that's what I
glue.
said. So weird how it just all happened with all
That
three
is
of us.
crazy. Yeah, that is. I never thought about it like that, but
Thanks,
lives-
Lexi. We love that
Thanks.
for us.
Thanks, Lex.
no problem.
Lexi lives far from us now, so
Yeah, seriously,
hate
I'm like over here across the country, and I'm like, you guys, you're welcome. Have fun.
we miss you.
I know, I miss you guys too.
Do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do, because it's very interesting?
Yeah. So, well, I do social media as a career. I do YouTube and Twitch. Those are my, main platforms that I use. It was pretty much like 3 or so years ago, I was watching this style of video called ASMR, and it was really relaxing, and it would help me sleep because I'm like an avid insomniac. And I don't know, I just kind of saw a bunch of people doing these types of videos, and it wasn't that big yet, and there was a lot of weird stuff surrounding it, and I just really, honestly, it was super random. I was just like, I could do that, and I just filmed a video and kind of just went from there. Actually, well, right before I started YouTube, I was doing live streams on this site called YouNow. I don't know if it still exists, but I would whisper because I still live with my mom, and people would say like, "Oh my God, you have such a relaxing voice. You should make like relaxing videos," and so that's what started it all.
Yeah, well, they're really
Wow.
good. If I didn't already know you, I would listen to your ASMR videos.
Thanks.
Yeah, I remember when I first met you, I didn't even know what ASMR was. And
Yeah.
I looked it up, and then I watched some of your videos, and then I actually just started watching ASMR, like all types of videos, because it is so relaxing.
I know. I remember when we like first started hanging out a lot. I remember you said that you watched one of my videos and you fell asleep, right?
Yeah, I did.
That was like the biggest compliment. And I was like, oh my God, you were the first person I think in my real life to like actually watch it seriously and fall asleep from it and be relaxed from it. Everyone else kind of just watched from like morbid curiosity.
Yeah, no, I found it so relaxing, and you're right, you do have such a relaxing voice.
Definitely. There used to be times when Lexi and I lived together, and one time I remember I came home and I opened her bedroom door, and she was doing like Lexi, what was it? Like
a psycho girlfriend.
And all that was on her floor was a roll of duct tape and a butcher knife. And I walked in and I was like, oh
my God, that I literally like my face was like, I don't really know how to explain this. Like I literally went to Target and bought duct tape, zip ties, rope, and like the cashier guy was like,
are you okay?
You're just like such a little girl, like buying these things.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for reference, yeah, I'm only 4'11", so it's like little old me walking to Target with literal like serial killer supplies. Yeah.
I think Lexi is the only person who's shorter than me that I've ever met in my whole life.
Yeah, that's usually how it goes. I'm usually the shortest one. Like, people that are 5'1" or 5 foot, like, will be like, oh, I thought, I was small until you came along. And I'm like, yeah.
Yep, exactly. That's what I thought. That's so
funny.
Me. How did you get such a big, fan base though? Because you have a lot of followers on YouTube, a lot of Instagram followers. Lexi's always getting hacked on social media because her fans love her.
When you know you've made it.
That's when you know you've made it.
Oh, that's like seriously the worst. But I I wouldn't necessarily say that I have like a huge following in the span of YouTube. No, in like the ASMR community specifically, I would say that I've made like a name for myself because it is or was a smaller community of videos. But so I think it was I have to say like maybe my third video I ever filmed. It was like a haircut role play, and it was me pretending to give the viewer a haircut, scissors, spray bottle, the whole thing. I loved videos like that. And that one, I just remember I woke up the next morning after posting it, and I think it was like 5,000 views, which was crazy for me at the time. And then within an hour, it like doubled, and I was like, whoa. And so I gained a lot of following from there and a lot of attention, which made it easy for my other videos to get views. And then from there, it kind of just like, I would make videos, and then some would do really, really well. Some would do okay. Some would do really bad. It just, it's the weird algorithm of YouTube. But it was literally just pure dumb luck or starting in YouTube or starting ASMR videos when it was a good time to start, when it wasn't too saturated yet.
You did start at a really good time too,
Yeah.
because now there's so many people who want to be ASMR,
Yeah.
and now it's like it's just like
It's
YouTube
too saturated
overall
now.
too.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like YouTube, like everybody got so involved in YouTube, and now it's harder to make a name for yourself in YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely.
It's
and all the people
just
that
in
started
general.
so much earlier, like when we were teenagers or like middle school, like these girls that just
Yeah.
started doing, ugly makeup tutorials are now like the beauty influencers and like the millionaire, like, like makeup artists. And it's crazy.
Yeah, I think I definitely got really lucky as far as starting making those kinds of videos when ASMR, it wasn't brand new, but it was still pretty new. Not a lot of people knew what it was. A lot of people were like, what the fuck is this? It's super weird. So yeah, I hopped on that train at the perfect time. But now it still sucks though for people who have been creating these videos like since the beginning. If you pretty much didn't make a huge name for yourself, your videos could still fall to the bottom because so many people make videos. Like, it's just crazy. So many people make videos, ASMR or not. Like, it's just a very saturated thing, YouTube. So it's hard in general to really get up there unless you're grandfathered in like for 10 years with millions of followers already. So, and even then your channel could also like die. I've seen
and flop.
It's crazy how that works. But
I remember the first time Lexi told me what she did, and I Googled her videos, and this is when we lived together. And so she was across the hall from me in her room, and I watched it, and I was like, this fucking freak. And I was like, I'm living with a crazy bitch. And then I realized that the videos are actually really soothing. And I had the flu one time, and so Lexi, I used to ask her to brush my hair when we lived together, so she used to play with my hair until I'd fall asleep sometimes. And she did like a whole hair one when my hair used to be like down to my ass. And I remember after seeing it, I was like, oh my gosh, that's actually really soothing.
Yeah, I remember after it was like the first time you asked me to brush your hair and play with your hair, it was like every night after that, and I was like, god damn it,
it is my favorite thing
you do
ever.
it so good.
Yeah.
I know.
Lexi, well,
your hands are a hand of many talents.
I pretty much just do like what I would want done to me. Like I know all like the good spots, I guess. So
You really do know all the good spots.
And I feel like after watching, like, it's one thing to watch videos when you're alone, but then once someone like plays with your hair or does like the face thing that you do on ASMR, like that's so much better than a video.
Oh
you
yeah.
know?
But sometimes sometimes all you have to work with is a video. So
yeah, exactly.
like I'll have, when my mom would come to visit, I would be like, "Can you just play with my hair?" Because that's what she would do to me as a kid. Like that's literally what started all of this for me was my mom would play with my hair and tickle my arm until I slept. So I like searched for that feeling as I started growing up, and I was like, "What is that?" And I would find it in weird, videos that weren't ASMR yet because it wasn't a thing yet. So
Can you explain what ASMR stands for again? I forgot.
yeah, it's autonomous sensory meridian response. It's pretty much, yeah, I mean, I guess it's just a fancy way of saying this
Tingles.
this tingly sensation that starts like at, your head, maybe goes down your neck, your back, whatever. A lot of people call it like a brain orgasm, which is, yeah, pretty. I mean, it depends though. Some people don't get actual like ASMR, like the actual tingly feeling. Some people just feel like just simply relaxed. I totally get straight ASMR. I can get it pretty intense to the point where I'll literally like knock the fuck out.
Yeah, see, I don't get ASMR. I don't get the tingles when I've tried.
Mm-hmm.
And I have always kind of wondered what it felt like. Megan, do you get the tingles when you watch them?
Yeah, I think it depends on what kind of video
Yeah.
it is for sure, but I've gotten it.
What about
It's just
Katie?
relaxing.
I like get them to an extent. I feel like
Really?
little tingles, but I just feel mostly relaxed. I like watching like the sand cutting videos. I don't know. I like.
Ooh,
Oh,
yeah.
I've
Oh
never
yeah.
seen one of those.
I like don't really like the talking ones as much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
I
my
like I,
personal favorite is when Lexi did her Valentine's Day skit.
God. Oh, why?
I
Why
don't
is
know
that?
why, but I really like the cranial nerve exams. I don't know
Those are
why.
really popular, yeah.
That just totally relaxes me. Like the whole eye thing when they make you like follow my finger and like the flashlight for your eyes, that
Mm-hmm.
totally gets me
Oh.
relaxed.
Well,
Oh my
have you
gosh,
ever,
really?
yeah, have you ever like been to a doctor's office and they knock quietly and they open the door and they have like a very calm demeanor and like everything is in a little place, like their cotton swabs are in a little jar. Everything's just kind of like relaxed in a doctor's office, or at least it should be. So I
Yeah.
feel like people, like I enjoy that too. Not so much so, but like, have you ever felt kind of just like relaxed in a doctor's office? I mean, a lot of people get ASMR like from real life situations, which is crazy because I
Oh,
don't,
really?
but not true ASMR really, but like sometimes, yeah, like,
That's crazy.
if a doctor's like examining your eyes or touching your ear or whatever, I don't know. But
Yeah, it's just
Or
kind of
like
like a
hitting you with
wave
the
of
little things,
relaxation.
checking your
yeah,
whatever reflexes.
yeah, and stuff like that. So yeah, I don't know. ASMR, it's a weird, crazy thing, but pretty much it helps me sleep and it just makes me feel really, really, really good, which is why I like it. So
Yeah, I love that you ended up, well, that you did something that was different, than what other YouTubers were doing. I definitely think it, sets you apart from, like Megan said earlier, like the makeup girls, like the Carly
hmm
Bibles, like, of the world, which I love Carly Bible, but, there's just so many people who do makeup. And,
yeah.
I just feel like the beauty community is so big on YouTube. So the
hmm
ASMR community is just super cool, and like that's just really exciting that you get to be a big part of it. So I think when you
Yeah.
started like younger too and you had all this time to build your fan base, it did like
Right.
really well for you.
Yeah, definitely. I think timing and all of that was really great. Obviously it comes with a lot of bad things too, which is really, really unfortunate. I don't know why
Mm-hmm.
this is. I think it's because primarily people that do ASMR are girls and also primarily younger girls. Like not super young. I more mean like between the ages of like 16 and 25, let's say. That's mostly, if you YouTube search ASMR, it's mostly girls of like that age group. So it's kind of you're a target for a pretty creepy audience sometimes.
Yeah.
I know, like, you know, let's say girls that maybe do like comedy skits or something wouldn't necessarily be as much of a target because they're not sitting in front of a camera, whispering, touching. Like, it's a very intimate thing, which is
Yeah,
why,
and it can get sexualized so
yes,
quickly.
which is
Yeah.
why ASMR artists or ASMR girls can be like such targets because it's often like sexualized. I mean, you know, some people do sexualize it, but for the most part it's not. It's just, it makes sense why people would think that it's weird and sexual because you're whispering, you're, you know, you're pretending that the camera is a person pretty much. So yeah, we're kind of like targets though, which sucks because we're doing something literally like for people. You know, we're doing ASMR to relax people, to make people feel good. And, you know, a lot of ASMR girls have come out and said like that they have gotten like doxxed, which means that their private personal information, like their real names, their home address, their social security has been like leaked.
So messed up.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's really
it's
Horrible.
sucks.
yeah, it
Especially
is.
when you put it like that, because I never even, until you just said it, I never made that connection. But it's true because ASMR is like kind of the only community that isn't promoting themselves up the ass. Like, it's not like
Right.
buy my product, sponsor me, or like, you know, I like this foundation, you should try it, or whatever. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's literally for the audience.
Yeah, it's
Right.
like providing a service.
Yeah.
Yeah, and very rarely will you ever see like in an ASMR video someone going like, you know, hey, yeah, like kind of like you said, Megan, like, hey, subscribe or buy this or buy that. It's because we don't want to take away from the relaxing experience. So a lot of the times, a lot of these people who get millions of views have less subscribers than let's say someone else who did comedy or something, or beauty. If they got the same amount of views, they would probably have a lot more subscribers and a lot more what's the word, a lot more people interacting with their video because they tell them to. They say, hey, subscribe, leave a like, leave a comment. But when you're doing an ASMR video, you know, you kind of just want them to be immersed in the relaxation, so we don't really get to say stuff like that without it taking away from the whole aspect of like ASMR.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Totally.
Yeah, imagine if you're just like totally relaxed and then you're right about to fall asleep and someone's like, subscribe to my channel, like follow me on
Use
Instagram.
my code Lexi10 for
Yeah.
10% off.
Use my discount code. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
exactly. Like it's just not, it doesn't fit, which sucks because, you know, it's still like it's still YouTube. We still want to be just like everyone else, like, you know, getting promotion sponsorships and promotion codes and stuff like that, but can't really do much of it without taking away from like the ASMR experience. But, you know, but also kind of like you guys said, it's a very like different kind of video. It sets people apart from everyone else. So there's really good things and there's bad things, but that's just the internet for you in general.
Yeah, and social media is definitely like, it's becoming more and more of a toxic place.
Ugh,
So,
God. Yeah.
like, yeah, I could totally see, you know, how, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean having like a quote, I say this in quotes, career um or job in social media where you do things like make videos or stream or whatever it is that you do, if that's what you do like for a living, that's awesome and everything, but also it can be really lonely. Like I used to have normal jobs where I would go and work with coworkers and actually go to like a store and work, and it can get pretty lonely um, because you work from home, and that's, it depends on who you are. Maybe you enjoy stuff like that, but for me, like personally, I thrive on social interaction, so it gets hard sometimes for me, but it
Yeah,
is also cool that I don't have to get up and go somewhere.
Work like a
Like
normal 9 to 5.
exactly, I get to make my own schedule, but
It's
you
like
know,
a
I'm at,
dream come true.
yeah, see, for like you would totally think that, and I think for a lot of people it is, but um but I think just for me personally, maybe people like me with, struggling mental health problems, like social interaction is like vital. So it's hard for me to kind of find the balance between just staying inside all of the time and going out and
And
talking to other
having like a
humans.
social, yeah,
Right.
Yeah,
that makes
this
sense.
quarantine definitely doesn't help anything either.
Oh my God,
No.
I know. I literally feel like I'm going crazy with
How
this
is the
quarantine.
quarantine over there? Are they pretty much locked down like over here in California, or
Oh, it's worse. It's worse
oh
here.
yeah, huh? It is worse. That's right.
Yeah, so it's pretty scary. Like I know California got hit pretty bad, but the East Coast more than anything has gotten hit the worst. New York, Massachusetts, and the surrounding states of New York are really, really bad, and the numbers are like crazy. And in Vegas, I was fine. Like we had like 2,000 cases and like 5 deaths or something. So I really wasn't worried too much. But here, it's a little bit scarier.
I
Um,
bet it is. Yeah, it is crazy over there. I keep forgetting that you moved so far. I was like,
I
oh, how is it
know.
over in Vegas? Never
I
mind.
know it's crazy, but it is absolutely beautiful here. Like
Oh,
it's green
I
and
bet.
luscious, and like the weather is awesome because it's already hot in Vegas, and fuck that. I was so glad I got out of there. I literally am right next to the river, which I literally can walk out of my complex and go down and see it, and it's really, really pretty. But I'm just sad I can't really go explore Boston yet because of quarantine. So
That'll be so much fun though when you can
oh
get out and
yeah.
do it, because it's just so beautiful over there. Like I miss living, which I lived, more down in the east south. Um,
Yeah.
when I was in North Carolina, but oh my gosh, it's so beautiful over there, and I just can't wait to be back because it's just the greenery, and
Hmm.
oh, it's such a nice place to be. I love California, but there's something about over there that just has my heart.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was in New York and Massachusetts back in November, and for 2 weeks, and it was I still catch myself like missing it, even though it was so cold and it was snowing like half
Yeah.
the time I was there. But like I just loved it. Like even though it's like I don't think I could live there. Like I just love being there still, and like I would love
Hmm.
to like have a house there in my future when I get rich and famous. My plan. I would love to
Same.
have a vacation
Same.
house on the East Coast.
Yeah.
Definitely. And yeah, because it's like all those like bodies of water. Like I get it, we have the beach and stuff, but we don't really have.
Like lake.
I mean, I know that we have rivers and lakes here and there, but like when do we ever really go to them? And we have to drive pretty far to go to them. So,
Yeah.
having all that super close, and the people are just so different out there. Like when I lived in North Carolina, I only lived a few hours from, Nashville, Tennessee and everything too, and only a couple hours from South Carolina, and everything's just so close. And
Yes.
all those places that I've been to throughout there was just amazing, and we were back in Nashville earlier this year, and we went during, the cold time, January, but I mean, it's just amazing out there, and it's just something different about the atmosphere. It's like you can
It's
feel
very
it.
Yeah.
different. It's
And
yeah,
You
it's
can feel it
very
in your
different.
bones, literally.
Well, yeah, I mean, literally, I think the East Coast and the West Coast, they're very different. They're like two different worlds. And kind of like you
Yeah,
said,
totally.
Christy, like there's literally states that you can drive a couple hours and you're in another state. Like you don't
yeah,
get that in,
California is so
it's
huge.
yeah,
crazy.
like
Yeah.
West Coast is just
California
so
is
much spread out.
huge.
Yeah, totally. That's the thing, is that California, it is so huge. You have to drive so far to get anywhere else. It's like even just to get to the next state over, you have to drive 7 hours or so just to even get to northern California. We have to
Yeah.
drive like a
Yeah.
6-7 hour drive.
Yeah.
And
I think it's like eight
living
hours.
Yeah.
yeah, it's so far. And when I lived in North Carolina, I really, really wanted to live in Tennessee. I wanted to live in Nashville. And my mom was like, Christy, please, like, just go to North Carolina. You have family there. And she was like, Nashville's only a few hour drive. Just live in, North Carolina where you can see your family, and then go down to Nashville whenever you want. And so, she's right, though. It was a few hours. but it's so convenient how close everything is. And so when you want to, make moves or whatever, you're not actually traveling that far. Let's say you are in North Carolina, you're like, actually I think I want to live, in South Carolina. It's only a few hours of a drive. It's so easy. It makes it so simple. And same with Tennessee. It's so simple. You could go right down to Georgia, and then you can, spend weekends in Florida. Everything is just so, Florida's like a 30-minute flight. I mean, everything is just so convenient over there. So
yeah, that's crazy.
I can't wait to be back over there.
It's like a longer flight from here to San Francisco than it is from like Massachusetts or New York to Florida, which is just insane. And like, that's what I think you're saying too. I think what's cool about the East Coast is that you can plan little vacations and it's easy peasy. It's not, I mean, like, even when we go to Vegas, like you said, the drive is like, what, 6 or 7 hours. I flew when I went, which was easy because it was only 45 minutes, but it's still like the hassle of the airport and everything, like. And when I was in Massachusetts, we drove to New Hampshire overnight. It took less time than from us getting to San Diego. It was like 2.5 hours. And then we just drove back in the morning. It was so easy.
That's crazy too, just to think, San Diego, like Lindsay lives in San Diego, and like I have to make an entire weekend out of it. And same when going to visit Lexi when you lived in Vegas, Lex, like you have to make a whole weekend out of it, like it's like you have to set aside 4 hours. You're lucky if you get there in 4 hours with no traffic.
Yeah, that's no traffic at all.
That's no traffic at all. But like on a shitty like day, or
like if you wanted to go out on Friday or something.
Oh my gosh, a Friday like after work, you're totally fucked. You're looking at 6 or 7 hours, which last time when Katie and I went, we surprised Lexi, but we left right after work, and we luckily got there like in 4 hours tops, and that's because quarantine had just begun. Before quarantine actually, literally like right when we got back, it was put on lockdown, but
it was on like the talks.
Everybody had already been social distancing, so nobody was going to Vegas because everything was closed. So we got there so quickly. Whereas if it was a normal weekend, not with this pandemic happening, we would have probably spent 6 or 7 hours in that car, and then that takes half your day, and then just to drive back that takes another half of your day. So you're only getting like a solid real day there.
I know you guys literally had like, you got to my house and then we pretty much like went to bed. We had the next day, and then you guys woke up and left.
Yeah, it was like we didn't even really have much time,
I know. But it's crazy. Like I literally like drive. I've only driven a couple of times around here since I've lived here, but the freeway signs say like Connecticut this way, like New Jersey that way, and it's just like crazy.
That's so exciting because it's just, you really just don't see that in California,
I know.
So that's so fun, and
it is.
You're gonna have so much fun exploring, and I can't wait when this is over to come down there and explore again. It's gonna be so nice because we're gonna be on the same side of the world again soon.
I know, and I want I want you guys to come like explore Boston, and I want to like come explore like Nashville. I drove through Tennessee, but it was like dark and I was exhausted from driving for like 3 days straight, so couldn't really enjoy anything, and we didn't stop. But
definitely, and when Broadway's open in Nashville, we're gonna hit Broadway, and
oh my God,
it's just like, oh my
god,
we're
gonna find Lexi in a gutter.
Oh my God. I hope not.
I hope not. That's definitely a story for another time.
Hope not. Yeah, definitely. That is love that story.
We're definitely gonna have to bring you on for our crazy drunk memories episode, because we definitely all have a handful, especially Lexi. We will introduce you to her alter ego, Amber.
It's Amber.
It's Amber. But
it's Amber.
Yeah. But thank you so much, Lex, for coming on this episode and talking about, your social media and all that you've done, and explaining to the viewers exactly what ASMR is, because I bet a lot of people, don't know what it is or weren't exposed to it. So that's definitely exciting and something new for people who want to, maybe be able to be relaxed or are struggling during this quarantine time, I know like mental health is a big, I mean, it's always a thing, but right now it's like how hard it must be for the people who are struggling with it. So if you are struggling with anxiety or, you know, any type of thing during this time, I definitely recommend, if you want a little bit of peace, to tune into some ASMR videos, especially
Definitely.
Lexi's, because she's great at them. And
Aw,
she just
thanks.
has a way, like we said, she just has a way of, you know, being calm, and her voice is great to, you know, it's really
Yeah.
soothing.
What's your
Thank you.
Instagram?
Yeah.
It's Lexi Pole ASMR.
No, it's just Lexi
Follow
Pole.
Lexi Pole on
Okay.
Instagram.
Follow at Lexi Pole on Instagram, and you can always just YouTube search Lexi Pole or Lexi Pole ASMR on YouTube, and all her videos will pop up, and you'll have a bunch to choose from. So
Well, thank you for that little shout out. Yeah, thank you for having me on. This was really fun. I don't think I've ever talked about like my social media journey this in depth before, so it was kind of cool to like talk about it all.
definitely,
Yeah,
it's
we'll
interesting to
definitely
hear.
have you on for other topics too,
Yes,
because
for the
yeah.
fun, crazy ones, because God, you know.
Oh
Thanks
yeah.
so much, Lex. We love you and we miss you so much.
Okay, love you guys.
Love
Miss
you
you guys.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you guys for listening to our second episode. Hope you enjoyed it, and we will see you next White Claw Wednesday.